The story takes place in São Vicente, a small, fog-shrouded town nestled deep within the mountains. The town is characterized by its narrow, cobblestone streets, dense forests surrounding the area, and old, decaying buildings that seem to whisper secrets of the past. The main location is an abandoned parking lot on the outskirts of town, where the white Kombi is said to appear. It was a cold, misty evening when Lucas and Mariana decided to investigate the legend. Armed with a camera, a flashlight, and a notebook, they ventured into the abandoned parking lot. The air was thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. "Are you sure about this?" Mariana whispered, her breath visible in the cold air. Lucas nodded. "We need to find the truth, Mariana. It's time someone debunked this myth." As they waited, the moon rose higher, casting a ghostly glow over the parking lot. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air, growing louder and louder. Out of the fog, the white Kombi emerged, its headlights like eyes piercing through the darkness. The van looked old and rusted, with patches of peeling paint and shattered windows. But the most horrifying detail was the bloodstains smeared across its sides, as if it had been through countless gruesome encounters. Lucas and Mariana exchanged a terrified glance but stood their ground. The Kombi came to a halt, its engine purring like a predator eyeing its prey. The doors creaked open, revealing a dark, empty interior that seemed to swallow the light from their flashlights. "Let's go," Lucas urged, his voice trembling. As they approached the van, a chill ran down Mariana's spine. She could hear faint whispers, voices of anguish and despair emanating from within. Lucas stepped inside first, his flashlight flickering. The interior was worse than they had imagined. Bloodstains covered the seats and floor, and the smell of decay was overwhelming. Lucas moved forward, his heart pounding, while Mariana followed, her eyes wide with fear. Suddenly, the doors slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside. The Kombi's engine roared to life, and the van sped off into the night, seemingly possessed by an unseen force. Lucas and Mariana screamed, pounding on the windows, but it was no use. Back in town, old man João sat by his fireplace, sensing the Kombi's return. He knew its dark secret, a story of a family who had been brutally murdered in that very van decades ago. Their restless spirits now haunted the Kombi, seeking revenge on anyone who dared to enter. Inside the van, Lucas and Mariana were thrown about as the Kombi raced through the foggy streets. The whispers grew louder, and ghostly apparitions appeared, their faces twisted in agony. Blood dripped from the ceiling, and the temperature dropped, freezing their breath. Mariana clung to Lucas, tears streaming down her face. "We need to get out of here." Lucas tried to force the door open, but it wouldn't budge. Suddenly, the van stopped abruptly, and the spirits began to materialize, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent. As the van's lights flickered, the spirits closed in, their cold hands reaching for Lucas and Mariana. The air was thick with the scent of blood and death, and their screams echoed through the night, swallowed by the fog. The fate of Lucas and Mariana hangs in the balance, their screams lost in the night as the spirit of the white Kombi continues its cursed journey. What happens next remains a chilling mystery, a horror left to the imagination of those brave enough to delve deeper into the legend. The story of the spirit of the white Kombi remains a terrifying enigma in São Vicente, a grim reminder that some legends are better left unexplored. Lucas and Mariana were paralyzed by fear, the malevolent spirit's icy grip tightening around them. The specters whispered tales of their torment, their ghastly visages contorted in eternal anguish. With a sudden surge of adrenaline, Lucas grabbed Mariana's hand, determined to find a way out. "Follow me," he urged, his voice a strained whisper. They stumbled towards the front of the Kombi, where the dashboard was covered in strange, glowing symbols. Lucas noticed a rusted crowbar lodged between the seats and grabbed it desperately. He began prying at the door, each creak echoing like a death knell. As Lucas struggled with the door, Mariana noticed a figure materializing in the driver's seat. A gaunt, hollow-eyed man, his face a mask of torment and rage. He turned towards them, his voice a guttural growl. "You cannot escape," he hissed. "Your fate is sealed." Mariana screamed as the figure reached out, his hand passing through Lucas's chest, freezing him to the bone. Lucas gasped in pain but refused to relent, slamming the crowbar against the door with renewed vigor. The door finally gave way, and they tumbled out onto the cold, damp ground. They found themselves in the dense forest surrounding São Vicente, the fog thicker than ever. The Kombi's engine roared behind them, and they could hear the spirit's anguished cries echoing through the trees. Lucas pulled Mariana to her feet, and they ran, branches whipping at their faces. "Where are we going?" Mariana panted, her voice trembling. "Anywhere but here," Lucas replied, his eyes wide with fear. They stumbled through the forest, the ground uneven and treacherous. The whispers followed them, the spirits relentless in their pursuit. Through the fog, they spotted an old, abandoned chapel, its silhouette looming like a dark sentinel. The wooden doors hung ajar, and they rushed inside, slamming them shut. The interior was cold and musty, the pews covered in dust and cobwebs. An old crucifix hung on the wall, its eyes seeming to follow their every move. "We should be safe here," Lucas said, trying to catch his breath. But Mariana shook her head, her eyes filled with dread. "No place is safe from them," she whispered. "We need to find Old Man João. He knows the truth." In his small, dimly lit cottage, Old Man João sat by the fire, his hands trembling as he sipped his tea. He had sensed the Kombi's presence, and he knew the young couple was in grave danger. He muttered a silent prayer, hoping they would find their way to him. As Lucas and Mariana huddled in the chapel, they heard the faint sound of footsteps approaching. The doors creaked open, and an old, hunched figure stood in the doorway. It was Old Man João, his eyes filled with sorrowful wisdom. "Come with me if you want to live," he said, his voice a raspy whisper. They followed him out into the night, their hearts pounding with a mixture of hope and fear. Old Man João led them to his cottage, a small, cozy abode on the edge of the forest. He bolted the door behind them and motioned for them to sit by the fire. He began to speak, his voice heavy with the weight of years and secrets. "The white Kombi," he began, "is cursed. Decades ago, a family was murdered in that van, their spirits bound to it by a dark ritual. They seek revenge on anyone who dares to enter. How do we stop it?" Lucas asked, his voice desperate. "There is only one way," João replied. "You must confront the spirits and offer them peace. Only then will they be released from their torment." João handed Lucas a small, ornate dagger and a vial of sacred oil. "Anoint the dagger with this oil and carve the symbols of peace into the van. It will be dangerous, but it is the only way." As they prepared to leave, João placed a hand on Lucas's shoulder. "Be careful. The spirits will not let you go easily." They made their way back to the abandoned parking lot, the fog thicker than ever. The white Kombi sat there, its engine idling, as if waiting for them. Lucas and Mariana exchanged a determined glance and approached the van. Lucas anointed the dagger and began carving the symbols into the Kombi's rusted surface. The spirits screamed in rage, their ghostly forms swirling around them. Mariana chanted the prayers João had taught her, her voice steady despite the terror. The spirits grew more violent, their attacks more desperate. One of them lunged at Lucas, its icy grip tightening around his throat. Mariana rushed to his side, using the dagger to ward off the spirit. With a final, desperate cry, Lucas carved the last symbol into the Kombi. The spirits shrieked in agony, their forms dissolving into the night. The Kombi shuddered, its engine sputtering and dying. The fog began to lift, revealing the first light of dawn. Lucas and Mariana collapsed to the ground, exhausted but relieved. As the sun rose, Old Man João appeared, a look of quiet satisfaction on his face. "It is done," he said. "The spirits are at peace." Lucas and Mariana looked at each other, their ordeal finally over. But as they walked away, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that something still lingered in the shadows. The legend of the white Kombi had come to an end, but the town of São Vicente would never forget the terror that had haunted its streets. The mystery of the spirit of the white Kombi remains a haunting memory, a dark chapter in the town's history. And while the spirits may have found peace, the echoes of their torment continue to linger, a chilling reminder that some horrors can never truly be laid to rest. The days following their harrowing encounter with the white Kombi brought an uneasy peace to Lucas and Mariana. The town of São Vicente seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief, but whispers of the ordeal still lingered among the residents. Lucas published his story, blending fact and legend, and the town slowly moved on. However, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling of unfinished business. He began to notice strange occurrences around their home: cold drafts, flickering lights, and the haunting feeling of being watched. Mariana, more attuned to the supernatural, shared his unease. One night, as the couple prepared for bed, the temperature in their bedroom plummeted. A dense fog seeped through the windows, and the unmistakable sound of a van engine idling filled the room. Lucas and Mariana exchanged horrified glances. "It can't be," Mariana whispered, her voice trembling. The white Kombi materialized outside their window, its headlights piercing the darkness. The spirits, now angrier than ever, had returned, their faces pressed against the glass, eyes glowing with malevolent intent. Desperate, Lucas and Mariana fled to Old Man Joao's cottage. The old man greeted them with a grave expression, as if expecting their return. "I feared this might happen," Joao said, his voice laden with sorrow. "The spirit's rage was too great. We must finish what we started." Joao explained that the ritual had only temporarily subdued the spirits. To truly free them, they needed to uncover the full story of the family's murder and bring the perpetrators to justice. Only then could the spirits rest in peace. The trio delved into the town's archives, unearthing forgotten records and old newspapers. They discovered that the family had been murdered by a group of corrupt officials seeking to cover up their crimes. The van, a gift from the patriarch to his family, had become their tomb. Lucas and Mariana, with Joao's guidance, tracked down the descendants of the murderers, now elderly and living in seclusion. Confronting these individuals, they learned of the guilt and fear that had plagued them for decades. Some confessed willingly, while others required more persuasion. With confessions in hand, Lucas and Mariana returned to the white Kombi, parked ominously in the same abandoned lot. Old Man Joao performed a final, elaborate ritual, using the confessions as a catalyst. As he chanted, the spirits appeared once more, but their rage was now tinged with sorrow. "You have been heard," Joao intoned. "Justice has been served." The spirits' forms began to dissolve, their expressions softening as they finally found peace. The van shuddered one last time, and the fog lifted, revealing a clear night sky. Lucas and Mariana stood beside Old Man Joao, watching as the white Kombi faded into nothingness. The nightmare was over, and the spirits were free. The town of São Vicente would always remember the legend, but the terror it brought had finally been laid to rest. Lucas embraced Mariana, feeling a profound sense of relief. They thanked Joao, whose wisdom and courage had guided them through the darkest of times. Life slowly returned to normal for Lucas and Mariana. The town of São Vicente, now free from the haunting presence of the white Kombi, began to heal. Lucas's article became a beacon of truth, shedding light on a dark chapter of the town's history and bringing closure to many. One quiet evening, as Lucas and Mariana sat by their fireplace, they reflected on their journey. The horrors they had faced had brought them closer together and revealed the strength they never knew they possessed. As they gazed into the flickering flames, a sense of peace settled over them. The legend of the white Kombi would live on, but for Lucas and Mariana, it was a story of courage, justice, and the unbreakable bond they had forged in the face of darkness. The spirit of the white Kombi was no more, but its tale would be told for generations, a chilling reminder that some legends are rooted in truth, and that true peace comes only through confronting and overcoming the shadows of the past.